Last night, in the middle of a storm, a single dad walked home from his late shift, his boots splashing through the rainwater pooling on the empty street. He had no umbrella, no protection, just his worn jacket pulled tight against the cold. But what happened next would change his life forever, and it's a story you need to hear until the very end. Because what you'll discover might just restore your faith in humanity. And before we begin, if you believe in courage, kindness, and second chances, hit that like button and subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be shared with the world. Michael was a single father of one little girl, Lily, just 7 years old. She was the reason he worked double shifts, the reason he pushed through exhaustion every day. Ever since his wife had passed away 3 years ago, Michael had been both mother and father, pouring every ounce of his energy into making sure Lily had food on the table, clothes that fit, and the warmth of love even in a house that sometimes felt too empty. That night, as he trudged down the rain-soaked alley, all he thought about was getting home to her. But fate had other plans. A scream pierced the storm. Michael froze. Through the sheets of rain, he saw 5 men circling a woman against a wall. She was clutching her purse, trembling, her voice breaking as she begged them to stop. His heart pounded. He had no weapon, no backup, just his own 2 hands and the weight of his responsibility as a father. But something inside him snapped. He could never walk away. He dropped his bag, sprinted forward, and with a roar that cut through the thunder, he slammed into the nearest attacker. The fight was brutal. One man swung a pipe, another tried to hold him down. The rain made every movement slippery and dangerous, but Michael fought like a man who had everything to lose. Each punch he threw wasn't just for the woman, it was for Lily, for the values he wanted her to believe in. He was outnumbered, overpowered, but not outwilled. Finally, after what felt like forever, the men scattered, cursing as they disappeared into the storm. Michael stood there, breathless, soaked, bleeding from a cut on his cheek. The woman collapsed into his arms, sobbing, whispering, "You saved me, you saved my life." Michael just shook his head, steadying her. "No one deserves to go through that," he said quietly. He walked her to safety, made sure she got into a cab, and only then dragged himself home, exhausted, every muscle aching. When he slipped into the house, Lily was asleep on the couch, her little arms wrapped around her favorite stuffed rabbit. He smiled, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Daddy's here." She never knew the battle he had just fought. To her, he was just Dad, her hero in ways she didn't even realize. The next morning, Michael went about life as usual. He packed Lily's lunch, tied her shoes, and waved goodbye as the school bus drove away. He thought the storm of the night before had passed, nothing more than a painful memory. But then, a low, thunderous sound filled the sky. He stepped outside, shielding his eyes. A helicopter hovered above his house, the blades whipping the air. His neighbors ran to their porches, pointing in disbelief. The helicopter descended into the field across the street, and out stepped a team of officials in uniform, along with a woman dressed sharply but with tears shining in her eyes. It was her, the woman from last night. Michael froze, confused, as she ran toward him. She explained that she wasn't just any woman, she was a well-known philanthropist and CEO, quietly traveling without security when she was attacked. She had traced him through sheer determination, refusing to let the man who risked his life for her remain in the shadows. With cameras rolling and neighbors gathered, she took Michael's hand. "The world deserves to know the kind of man you are," she said, her voice trembling. She explained that his bravery had not only saved her, but had reminded her that there are still heroes who live quietly among us. Right there, she announced that she wanted to support his family, cover Lily's education, secure their home, and ensure he never had to worry about money again. Michael's eyes welled with tears. He wasn't a man who asked for help, but the weight he had carried for years suddenly lifted. He hugged Lily tightly when she came running back, confused by the noise but smiling when she saw her dad crying happy tears. For once, he didn't have to hide his struggles. The story spread like wildfire. People called him the rainstorm hero. But to Michael, he was just a father doing what was right, even when no one was watching. The message was clear: bravery isn't about medals or fame, it's about standing up when it matters most, even if your knees are shaking. So if you're listening right now, let Michael's story remind you that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And maybe, just maybe, one act of courage can change the course of a life forever. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this need to reach the world. Someone out there may need this reminder today. Heroes still walk among us, and sometimes, they're just single dads doing their best in the rain.